Sometimes, to understand the present, you have to go back to the past. All my life, people have labelled me as being different. A learning disability, physically disabled, mentally ill. Society makes us have the labels. I think it makes life easier for so-called normal people.
Skip nothing, no go, skip nothing, no skip nothing, gay.
I want to know why so many people with learning disabilities face discrimination.
I don't deserve this.
Why so many of my friends who've had this label have spent their life in institutions and been stopped from doing the things that everybody else does, like getting married and having children. I'm going back 100 years to find out about a scientist called Francis Galton, who worked at the University of London. I'm going to talk to Steve Jones, Professor of Genetics at the Galton Laboratory.
Francis Galton was Charles Darwin's cousin, and he was very much a Victorian man. He was rich, he was confident, he knew his own place high up in society, and like a lot of his contemporaries, he strongly believed that what made us what we are was in the blood, in the genes, as we say today. Galton invented the word eugenics, which literally means well-born, and that had two aspects to it. First of all, to try and promote those with good genes, as we might say today, to have more children, and secondly, and much more damagingly, to have those with bad genes, so-called, to prevent them from having children at all.
Skip nothing, no go, skip nothing, no skip nothing, gay. Skip nothing, no go.
Galton's papers are kept in the University College archives, so I went there to see what I could find.
Galton's work was very important in two ways. First of all, it made people realise that we can study ourselves, humans, we can understand our own genes. So that was a very positive, important thing. But unfortunately, his idea that some people were born good, some people were born evil, some people clever, some people stupid, his idea was very quickly used to make what seems like an obvious decision, that he should favour some people having children and stop other people having children.
Galton's work inspired the Eugenics Society, which tried to change the law to make sure that people with learning disabilities did not have children. In the 1930s, the Eugenics Society made a film to try and persuade people about their ideas.
What is the bearing of the laws of heredity upon human affairs? Eugenics provides the answer, so far as this is known. Eugenics seeks to apply the known laws of heredity so as to prevent the degeneration of the race and improve its inborn quality.
In the archive, I found lots of letters about people with learning disabilities.
From Miss Mary Dendy, Honourable Secretary for the Lancashire and Cheshire Society for the Permanent Care of the Feeble-Minded. Dear Mr. Galton, with regard to your request for details about my opinion that we shall save feeble-minded children from being born, I base my view on the fact that the weaker the intellect, the greater appears to be the strength of the reproductive faculties. It is as though, when the higher faculties have dwindled, the lower, or merely animal, take command.
She's saying that if you're thick, you're into sex more. The Eugenics Society's film showed how afraid people were that we would breed like rabbits.
Here is a man who, although normal, comes from a mentally defective family. Here is his wife, who is also normal. They have had 17 children. Let us examine the pedigree of these children. 5 of them died in infancy. 3 are still too young for an opinion to be formed of their mental state, a boy and 2 girls. Only 2 of the remaining children are normal. The remaining 7 children are all mental defective. Of these, 2 live at home, a man and a crippled dwarf girl. There is 1 man in an institution and a woman with the mentality of a child. The other 3 are all girls and are all in an institution.
In 1913, a new law was passed, the Mental Deficiency Act, which made it compulsory for people with learning disabilities to be put in hospitals. The film shows how hospitals separated men and women. One of the reasons for this was to stop them from having children.
In institutions such as this, all over the country, mental defectives are cared for. These are children who are helpless and need constant attention. Once such children have been born, we must do the best we can for them. Here are some feeble-minded women and girls who can only be educated up to the point of normal children of 7 to 10. If carefully trained, they can be taught simple routine tasks. Here are men in the workshop, carpentry.
Most of the institutions, like the one in the film, have closed.
The hospital itself, when we first purchased the site, was obviously in great disrepair, and an extensive demolition and site clearance programme was undertaken. The actual development itself is going to consist of around 1,100 units. The phase that we're sort of currently constructing is mainly sort of 5-bedroom and 4-bedroom large properties, so you'd expect your sort of executive type person to be buying down this end of the site. The actual scheme is about building a community and not just about creating a large estate.
Goodbye to good rubbish, I think.
How long was you here for then,
I was here when I was 8 years old, came in 1960, and I spent a total of 20 years in here, and I was on the children's ward for about 6 years.
Right.
Then I got moved up in when I was 12 onto Camdale ward when I was 12 years old.
So where was your ward?
My ward was over there.
Over there?
Down there. Of course, I got brought from a children's home. Nobody told me what was going on, and it was frightening for me. Not only me, Jonathan as well. You have to include all my friends. We all felt sad, miserable, upset, worried and frightened what would happen to us in this place.
I went to Balderton with Kevin Chettle and Jonathan Young. Between them, they'd spent nearly 40 years of their lives here.
Down the bottom, if you go down the bottom end, down there used to be all the...
Jonathan wasn't happy and soon went back to the car because he had bad memories, but Kevin showed me round.
Oh, God, this is the door. This door used to be locked at night, in daytime. Yeah, this corridor here is the passage where you have tables down here.
Yeah.
And that was one of the dormitories there. And in there was the bathrooms and showers.
How many showers was in there then, Kevin?
24 showers.
24
and
showers.
24 baths. Room, toilets, bathroom, shower, toilet, more toilet in there.
So did everybody have to shower all at the same time, Kevin?
They used to have ladies first.
Yeah.
Then it used to be the men's after. This is your coat. This is where all the clothes go.
Yeah.
This used to be have a door here, and it used to be locked off, so you couldn't get your clothes. That one used to be the punishment room.
Right. And what was in this room?
There's just a bed, separate doors. This room was for boys, and that room there was for girls. And this used to be a metal door here. If a girl be bad, they come in here. And if it's not a girl, they go in there. And there's a quiet room in the corner where people used to go, kids.
Was there toys in there as well?
Yeah, toys for the children. On the outside is all the swings where the kids used to go and play.
I'm thinking you must be having an awful lot of bad memories, Kevin.
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of bad memories about this building. It's nice to talk to you now.
And you, Kevin, as well.
Oh, thank God for that, yeah. Glad to see the thing down. I mean, it is painful coming back here. You say goodbye. Yeah, I remember the old bricks.
bricks.
The bricks, yeah. Painful bricks. This is what the wards used to be like. And on top of there used to be a wall, then windows, then you used to have bars on the windows.
You had bars on the windows?
Yeah. Goodbye, Boulderton. Bye, Boulderton. Goodbye, Camdale.
Nice one. Did that
Yeah.
feel good?
Yeah, that made me better. Made me feel a lot better now.
That's good.
We weren't allowed in there. Goodbye, clock. Goodbye, building. Good ribbons to you. What you did to me, you made me feel angry, low, fed up. What you done to Jonathan, you made him angry, you made him silent. You broke his heart, you broke my heart. I wish you'd let me go to my parents, to the funeral. You did stop me. You never said a thing to me. You made me angry, disgust. The way you treated me was bad. All the patients what was here, all my friends was here who died in this place. You have brought bad feelings to me. So goodbye, goodbye, goodbye forever. I have got a new life now. I am on the outside. You said to me, Kevin Chettle, you will be back in 5 days. I'm out of this place now, and all my friends are around. All my friends used to be here are gone. We've all gone. We've all got out.
All right, Kevin.
Ah.
Once they have been born, detectives are happier and more useful in these institutions than when at large. But it would have been better by far, for them and for the rest of the community, if they had never been born.
When we look back 50 years and more, when we knew effectively nothing about human genetics at all, people were filled with the most astonishing, most terrifying confidence. They felt that things like learning disabilities, let's say, were under the control of single genes. It would be very easy to get rid of them by stopping people having children or by terminating pregnancies. If you were in Germany, by actually killing people with those conditions. Now that was morally wrong, but it was also scientifically stupid.
In America, a law was passed making sterilisation compulsory for some people with a learning disability. In Germany, the Nazi government passed their own sterilisation law. Later, they killed more than 250,000 people who they said had hereditary defects. In Britain, sterilisations could only be done with the consent of the individual or their legal guardian. And this is where history joins up with my story. I think I'd actually been married for less than 6 months. I actually thought that I might be pregnant. So my GP gave me a test and he said I wasn't pregnant, but he felt I needed to go and see a specialist. Keith's been a friend since I was 12 years old. He's helped me through the hard times and he's helped me move on. And this specialist woman that I went to see said, well, you're going to have to be sterilised. And I asked why, and she said because it's the right thing to do. I understood that they didn't want me to have a baby. And they said because I wouldn't be able to look after it. But I was also told at that same time that if I had a child, especially with the partner that I was with at the time, it would be born with severe learning disabilities. But I've found out since then that that was an untruth. I would like to ask you then, how true is it that people with a learning disability are more likely to have a child with a learning disability?
All I can say is that learning disability, like fever used to be, is a description of a set of symptoms which can be caused by a great variety of events, some of which are certainly inborn, there's no question of that, but many more of which are not.
So would you say then that a doctor that tells somebody with a learning disability that the chances are very high that they would have a child with a severe learning disability, do you think they are wrong?
The problem with genetics, when it comes to doctors in particular, is that it seems much simpler than it is. Most genetic conditions, most medical conditions, are not simple. In fact, an illness like, let's say, heart disease has a lot of genetics in it. Lots and lots of people with heart diseases have got damaged genes, but it's not straightforward. It's very hard to sort out what's happening. And learning disability is just like that. You don't go to somebody and say, oh, you've got heart disease, your children are going to have heart disease. Far from it.
But nobody really told me it was my choice and what. Nobody told me what I might miss out on. It almost wasn't anybody's decision. I was told that was what was going to happen. I feel like I've been blackmailed. I regret it because now I can't have a child of my own. And yes, I would have liked one. I can't sit here and honestly say that I know I could have managed all on my own, because I don't think I could. I would have needed some support from the professionals. But so do other people who haven't got a label.
1960 to 1980, that is me. I am in the middle. I am sad. Two people are smiling. They are smiling.
Kevin and Jonathan now use their life stories to train people who work in social services.
Gates are closing behind me. My labels are on me, going round and round and round until I get to there. People look at me and think, oh, hang on, he's changed, he's a changed man. And on the day when I was coming out, I didn't have a proper say goodbye to my mates. So I left Boulderton, and then we talked about moving into my own flat. And I think you all got led to it, Sue.
Yeah, it just went on from there. I used to come down at the weekends for dinners.
We spent 2 years together, and then we made a big decision in 1997. We decided to get married.
That's true.
And about 1990 I joined Advocacy in Action. And I've done a lot of training with disabled people, with parents and carers, with social workers. It's training other people to listen to disabled people. Think about your own labels. Don't put labels on people. It is very destructive. If you ask the disabled people what they would like to do, they will tell you. Absolutely brilliant. I'm hoping that everybody goes out here and keep on your drawings, because you've got wonderful skills.
At the start of the 21st century, the news is full of stories about genetics. Look on the internet and you can find websites about these discoveries. That's a good one. Our vision, our society where all disabled people can participate fully as equal citizens. The new discoveries will help a lot of people, but there are also calls to use genetics as an excuse to try and prevent people with a learning difficulty living a normal life. Eugenics are back. One site offers to pay $250 to people with poor backgrounds who are addicted to drugs or alcohol if they agree to be sterilised. Another website tries to define what a person is. To be a person, apparently, you need to have an IQ over 40, self-awareness, capability of relating to others, communication abilities, and an acceptable degree of brain function. Some people with learning disabilities may not pass these tests. Does that mean we are not really people?
I think the odd thing about genetics is that people both expect too much of it and fear too much of it. And what's happened with genetics over the last 20 years, the more we've learned, the less we seem to understand. Now we realise we understand almost nothing. And the idea that we as geneticists have anything useful to say about the role of disabled people in society is wrong. We don't understand much more about disability than most people do. So in the end, my view actually is that genetics makes rather little difference to our view of disability. Our view of disability is a social one, not a scientific one.
I'm proud to be disabled. The people say, oh, you can't be proud. I am proud of what I can do.
The 20th century built its policies on learning disabilities, on ideas about science and genetics that weren't true. This has wronged many people. Hundreds of millions of pounds are going into genetic research. I hope that when people start making laws based on this new science, they talk to us this time.
Skip night and go, skip night and no, skip night and go. Skip night and go, skip night and no, skip night and go. I don't deserve this. Skip night and go, skip night and no, skip night and go. Skip night and go, skip night and no, skip night and go. Skip night and go.